In Japan, the legal system is built to keep vehicles small, with engine caps at 660 cubic centimeters, punitive width taxes, and mandatory proof of parking. So Toyota did something impossible. They engineered a 7-foot wide, 6,000-pound machine with portal axles and four-wheel steering so precise it turns tighter than a Corolla. Fewer than 150 ever reached civilian hands. It started with a military demand no existing vehicle could meet. Japan's vehicle laws draw a hard line. Engines must not exceed 660 cubic centimeters, widths must stay under 1.48 meters, and even height is capped at 2 meters. These restrictions do more than encourage small cars. They enforce them with tax brackets that punish anything oversized. KEI cars, the national default, slip through the cracks with their featherweight frames and tiny engines. For everyone else, the tax code of the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport, and Tourism ensures that the bigger you go, the more you pay, often by orders of magnitude. Proof of a legal parking space is mandatory before you can even register a car that breaks these limits. Against this backdrop, the mega cruiser is an anomaly. At over 2 meters wide and tipping the scales at more than 6,000 pounds, it blasts past every legal and financial barrier. Its engine, a 4.1-liter turbo diesel, sits in a bracket where annual road taxes alone can exceed the cost of an entire KEI car. Finding a parking space that can legally fit a 7-foot wide, 16-foot long vehicle is nearly impossible in urban Japan, where most garages are built for cars half that size. The result is a machine so out of sync with its environment that civilian ownership was never more than a fantasy for almost everyone, except government agencies and a handful of collectors willing to pay a king's ransom.
If you're enjoying this content, subscribe now.
The mega cruiser's very existence is a puzzle. Why would Toyota pour resources into a project that defies every economic and regulatory logic of its home country? In 1991, the Japan Self-Defense Forces delivered a request for proposal that left little room for compromise. The new vehicle had to clear at least 400 millimeters of ground, ford 0.8 meters of water, and turn within a 6-meter radius, numbers set by the Ministry of Defense, not marketing. Toyota's engineers, led by Yoshihiko Nonaka and Toru Sakurai, built the BXD-10 to meet these demands, knowing the real measure would come in the field. Exercise Kohaku, held in the rugged mountains of Nikko National Park, put the prototype through its paces. The BXD-10 climbed 63% grades, crossed riverbeds, and maneuvered through tight switchbacks that had stopped earlier designs. Its high ground clearance let it crawl over obstacles that stranded conventional trucks. The after-action report confirmed what the team had hoped. The mega cruiser not only met but exceeded every requirement. This victory wasn't just technical, it justified a radical mission-first design, proving that military function could dictate form, even at the cost of civilian practicality. Even among Japan's rarest machines, the civilian megacruiser stands alone. Between 1996 and 2001, Toyota built somewhere between 133 and 149 BXD-20 units, a production run so small that it barely registers next to mainstream models. Most never reached private hands. Instead, fire departments, police forces, and emergency agencies became the primary customers, drawn by the vehicle's unique ability to haul rescue teams and equipment where ordinary trucks failed. In Tokyo, the fire department's megacruiser served as a mobile command post, braving disaster zones and ferrying supplies through blocked streets. A handful of units trickled into corporate fleets, but the odds of seeing one outside a government garage were vanishingly slim. Scarcity alone would have been enough to spark curiosity, but the megacruiser's rarity has only grown more valuable with time. Today, collectors scour auction sites and Japanese classifieds for any trace of a BXD-20. The floor price for a roadworthy example now exceeds $200,000, with some sales reaching far higher, an astonishing figure for a vehicle that once seemed too big and too impractical to survive in its home market. For the few who can secure one, ownership is less about transportation and more about holding a piece of engineering legend. The megacruiser's myth is built on numbers, not just its size and capability, but the sheer improbability of its existence. Portal axles transform the megacruiser from a massive truck into a rock-crawling specialist. Each wheel sits below a gear reduction hub, lifting the axle centerline far above the tire's midpoint.
If you're enjoying this content, subscribe now.
This design grants a staggering 16.5 inches, over 420 millimeters, of ground clearance, enough to clear boulders that would stop even the toughest conventional 4x4s. The 2.5-to-1 hub ratio multiplies torque at the contact patch, letting the vehicle crawl up steep slopes without overstressing the drivetrain. Instead of relying on oversized tires, Toyota engineers built vertical mastery directly into the axles. But size alone means nothing if you can't turn. The megacruiser's hydraulic four-wheel steering system is a study in mechanical audacity. At low speeds, the rear wheels swing up to 12 degrees in the opposite direction of the front, shrinking the turning circle to just 5.6 meters, tighter than a Corolla despite a wheelbase nearly as long as a Hiace van. The system's speed-sensitive logic transitions the rear wheels back to neutral or even in phase at higher speeds for stability. This combination of portal axles and four-wheel steering lets the megacruiser thread narrow mountain switchbacks and urban alleys alike, a paradox for a vehicle that dwarfs nearly everything else on Japanese roads. Protection in the megacruiser goes beyond armor and bulk. Its braking system hides a quietly radical idea: inboard-mounted, hub-centric brakes. Instead of bolting heavy discs to each wheel, Toyota engineers tuck the ventilated rotors close to the differential, deep within the chassis. This move shields the brakes from rocks, mud, and battlefield debris, a necessity for a vehicle expected to crawl through shattered roads and flooded fields. But the real benefit is mechanical. By pulling the mass of the brake assembly off the wheel hub and onto the chassis, the design slashes unsprung weight. Lower unsprung mass means each wheel can respond more quickly to bumps, improving traction and ride comfort on rough ground, even with a 6,000-pound curb weight bearing down. Yet this engineering leap comes with a cost. Inboard brakes, cocooned from the outside world, lose the natural airflow that cools conventional disc setups. Field service reports from the Japan Self-Defense Forces and the Tokyo Fire Department document repeated overheating during long downhill runs, forcing Toyota to retrofit forced air cooling ducts and cross-drilled rotors. Mechanics learned to watch for scorched seals and faded pedal feel, quirks that became part of the megacruiser's maintenance lore. The payoff was a system that could survive the worst terrain, but only if owners respected the delicate balance between protection and practicality. In the megacruiser, every advantage is earned, and every shortcut comes with its own penalty. Industrial power sits at the core of the megacruiser, embodied in the 4.1-liter 15 BFTE turbo diesel This engine produces a steady 280 pound-feet of torque at just 1,800 revolutions per minute, a figure more common in commercial trucks than civilian SUVs. The torque curve is nearly flat, designed for hauling multi-ton payloads up mountain trails and through disaster zones without hesitation. Yet all that mechanical force requires a transmission and drivetrain built to withstand continuous, punishing loads. The result is a massive central tunnel, nearly 3 feet wide, that dominates the cabin. Instead of a flat floor, passengers are separated by a barrier of gears, shafts, and transfer cases. Reminders of the engineering priorities at play, the interior reflects this paradox. 10 seats fit within the cabin, but usable space is carved up by the demands of heavy-duty hardware. The sense of scale outside does not translate to comfort inside. Instead, every inch is claimed by machinery. Portal axles, a dual-range transfer case, and inboard brakes all demand room. The central tire inflation system, controlled from the dash, lets the driver adjust pressure at each wheel without leaving the seat. This feature is borrowed from military logistics, not family transport. Every element speaks to a vehicle built for function above all, where human space is the compromise for unstoppable mechanical capability.
If you're enjoying this content, subscribe now.
Numbers alone can cut through myth, and the mega cruiser's figures are hard to ignore. Approach and departure angles, those crucial measures of how steep a slope a truck can climb or descend without scraping, stand at 73 degrees and 78 degrees for the Toyota. The Humvee, America's gold standard for military off-roaders, posts 69 degrees and 71 degrees. That difference, just a few degrees on paper, means the mega cruiser can crest sharper ridges and drop into steeper ravines, a direct advantage born from its portal axles and high-clearance chassis. Turning to cost, the contrast is just as stark. The civilian mega cruiser launched at 9.62 million yen, an astronomical sum in 1996, more than double the average Japanese annual salary. Meanwhile, the Humvee's civilian H1 variant sold for about $87,000 in the U.S. market. Factor in Japan's punitive taxes, and the mega cruiser becomes not just rare but almost unattainable. Yet in direct operational terms, angles, clearance, maneuverability, the Toyota edges out its American rival, a technical verdict that stands regardless of the price tag. Bubble-era Japan was a world of financial excess. Toyota's research and development budget swelled to over 1 trillion yen by the early 1990s. That kind of corporate firepower created a playground for engineers. Projects that defied commercial logic could be greenlit on vision alone. The mega cruiser was born in this climate, a product of discretionary funding that let Toyota chase technical audacity without worrying about mass market appeal or profitability. The company's internal data book from 2006 lists the mega cruiser alongside flagship luxury sedans, a reminder that, for a brief window, even the most impractical dreams could get built. Today, that same aura of untouchability fuels a collector's obsession. In April 2022, a former Tokyo Fire Department mega cruiser, meticulously documented and restored, sold at Bonhams, Tokyo for 1.9 billion yen, nearly $14 million. This was not just a sale, it was a coronation. The mega cruiser, once a bubble-era outlier, has become the ultimate symbol of engineering excess and unattainable rarity. Its value now measured in myth as much as yen. Today, the mega cruiser stands as an engineering paradox, built to conquer mountains, yet boxed in by Japan's own laws. Its surviving examples command prices rivaling supercars. In a world chasing efficiency, it remains a rare reminder sometimes the most audacious machines are engineered precisely for the roads they'll never travel.
If you're enjoying this content, subscribe now.